Okay, so welcome. I'm Tristan from Theodo, and I just want to start by asking you some quick questions. How many of you have suffered of developing, taking into account all browsers like IE8 or any others? Okay. Have any of you ever tried to develop an app for Windows, Linux, and OS X at the same time? Well, I have a solution that gets rid of all of these problems at the same time, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So the technology I want to present is Electron, and what does it do? It allows you to ship web technologies to all your users packaged in an usual application, .exe or .dmg or anything you want, and it is OS and browser agnostic. So you just don't care about which browser or which OS your user is on, which is a real life-changing feature. To start with a little bit of history, at first Electron comes from this project. I don't know if many of you just recognize it, but it is Atom. Atom, which is an open source IDE, and well, since April 2015, Electron is called Electron, but before it was called Atom Shell, because it is a framework that the Atom team developed to run their IDE, and they have decided to separate it from the Atom project to deliver it to all the community, and it is more and more used in different companies. What is it about? The technical stack of the Electron technology is you ship a Node.js backend alongside a Chromium instance inside your application, and this allows you to render your web application seamlessly to the user. In fact, you don't care about the browser because your application turns inside Chromium, so Chrome, but the open source version, and you have access to a backend inside your application, which allows you to communicate with the user's computer as with a normal application do. So, how does it work in more details? You have two types of processes in an Electron app. You have the main process, which is the principal process of your application, and the renderer processes, because one renderer process is one window of your app, and the main process controls all of the renderer processes. So this is the equivalent of your backend, and this is all your windows. Each one is a different Chromium instance, and they all communicate back and forth. So you have access to a lot more features than you would have access to with a normal web application. And I want to show you how easy it is to put Electron in place. I worked with Electron on a former project, and to capitalize on this experience for Theodo and everyone, with my team we created an open source repository at this URL, which is a boilerplate for Electron, which already has in place all the packages we use to build and package our apps in .exe. We have, of course, Electron and two other NPM packages, Electron Packager and Electron Builder, that take your code and compile it, build the .exe. Even for Windows, provide you with an installation wizard, so you have the usual window with the continue, accept, and install. And all this, with the boilerplate, sorry, you can have your app ready and running in less than an hour. We discovered Electron with this project, and it took less than 2 days for us to find all these packages and to put them together. So now that they are all together, follow the steps that on our README, and in less than 1 hour, your app. So I want just to show you how easy it is to integrate an app in Electron, of course. And for that, I've used Scramble, which is an app that was developed by other theaters to help us in our daily tasks. And what I did principally is take their code, put it in the client folder of my Electron boilerplate, and now I just have to do npm start, and here you have your app. I've done nothing less, nothing more. Well, this app is a bit more complicated than just a simple Angular app, and you have no login with Trello. It would require a bit more work to have this auth work, but you can already navigate. You can, if you want, send them a feedback. They receive it. I've tested it. Well, it's empty, so you can go. You can re-navigate up here. On this link, it opens a new window, and you have the website of our company. So this shows how that it really is Chromium. In fact, you just can click on any link. You can navigate to Google, to Wikipedia, on everything. It's just Chromium. But it's Chromium, but there is more. If it was only Chromium, that would be a bit boring. Well, there's more. I've lost the full screen. Well, I'll take the full screen back. Oops. There's more. Because okay, that's the usual demo effect, but well. As I've said, in your Electron app, you have a Chromium, which allows you to render your web apps normally, but you have the power of Node.js in it too, and this means that you have access to all the Node packages you want, and you can communicate with the user's computer directly. Here I wanted to do a small demo of the app we built for our clients. Well, I didn't have time to put it up. But in this app, we had a file that was an encrypted version of the local storage we had in our app, and we saved this database every once in a while, seamlessly for the user, because for a normal web app, your apps in a browser run in a sandbox mode. You don't have access to the user's computer, and of course, it would be a drastic security flaw if you could access any computer like this. But here, you're on the computer. You have Node.js, and you have access to it, so you can access the file system, the OS parameters, everything you want, and this allows you to do much more than you could do with a normal website. And of course, it allows you also to deliver your app offline. For our clients, we didn't have access to, we needed not to be dependent on internet, because it was for crisis cells, and well, these cells could be, I don't know, well, the power could go out or anything, and we had to be able to get our app running even if we didn't have internet. And with Electron, it's possible, as in the end it's only a new program completely, and with the power of web applications and Node.js. And so, do you have any questions? Yes?
Do you have any difficulties developing with Electron? Were there any drawbacks?
So the question is, did we encounter any problems developing with Electron? As I've said, we were up and running in less than 2 days. This was really good news for us. There was a huge uncertainty on how fast we could deliver something to the clients. So we didn't have many drawbacks. I mean, once the framework was up, we just were developing an Angular app with some technicalities like handling the files, or we had a license system, but these were really particular to our app. And if you don't need specific technical details, you just develop your usual web app, put in Electron, and just let it run. There's really no difficulties.
Why isn't it a security flaw for your app to have access to your computer? Well, it is if it wasn't a web app.
No, it is. It would be a big security flaw if a web app could access the user's computer.
Why is it not a security flaw in your app?
Because the app is inside the user's computer and doesn't communicate with the web.
Well, you just said that you could send a message.
Yeah, you can, but I mean it's like any program. The user has to install it, to specifically download it and click on the file to install it. Whereas a website, you just go on the URL, perhaps misclick somewhere, and if any site could access any of your data, well, pirates would be really happy.
It's more a question of intention.
Yeah.
When you're browsing the web, you don't intend the web sites you're browsing to access your computer. Whereas here, if you fully give access to the application,
specifically grant the program the access when you install it.
But I feel like normal user wouldn't make a difference between agreeing to installing a desktop application and a web app.
The user will see the difference between an application made with Electron with another application made in C or Java. And the fact is, an application made with Electron has the same level of access as an application made with any other language.
Yeah, so the
website, only the website is the technology made is similar.
yeah, the discussion for the cameras, that's, well, yes, if you install an Electron application, you willingly give access to your computer to the application. And well, for example, for our project, we had to also numerically certify our app to have like the usual window where you have a program developed by our client name and not the usual warning symbol. Watch out! This was downloaded from the internet, but we don't know who made it. So you can have all the advantages of software, real software, and well, numerically sign your app. You can really well, extend and provide the power of web applications to the computer in general.
Do you know if you can have any access to the OS like functionalities? I don't know if you can add some things to the upper menu here in OS X, or I don't know what's in Windows 10, but then have the little square, or I don't know, something that makes it more than a web app running in something that looks like a real program.
So the question was, can we do more with Electron than just having a web app running in a window? Then the answer is yes. Well, the first step in our project was to change the small logo of our app. Instead of the basic Electron logo, we had our logo. And then we went even further, and because we created our files to save our data, we created our file extension .kri, well, what you want, and we modified the templates that built our executable to link this file extension to our app in Windows. So then this is explained on our repository, but when the user double-clicked on our files, it opened then directly in our app, and the files were displayed with our logo, with an Electron file, with a Crisis file, and everything. So you can really access the computer the package Electron Builder builds the installer, and with this installer, when you install your app, it creates all the usual shortcuts on the desktop in the start bar. It creates the uninstaller, which removes all these links. So it really acts like a normal software.
You didn't talk about our problems for testing.
Ah yeah, well, the question was.
If we didn't talk about
Yeah, then the question is, is that in fact we had real difficulties testing our app because, well, as it is a web app, you have access to the usual web testing tools like Protractor or anything. But well, in our app, the first step was to ask the user where he wants to save his file. And by doing this, you open the usual save as pop-up, which is a system pop-up, and it's not anymore in the browser. And we couldn't access this pop-up from our testing tools, and so we just couldn't click OK on this pop-up, and we couldn't close the pop-up, so we just couldn't pass the first step. But there are tools to test for those who really care about it. Well, Atom is completely tested, so. It is possible. We just didn't have time to dig deep enough to fix it.
What about updates on these apps? How do you push them to the user? Is there something like the IO where it all syncs somehow?
In the official Electron documentation, to build the installer, they recommend another package, which is Electron Grunt Installer, I think. Well. And this package includes Squirrel, which is an API that allows auto updates. We didn't choose this one because Electron Builder provided us with features that we need more, but it is possible to include this. Squirrel has a specific version for Windows where you just after you have your app running, you send NuGet packages to the NuGet system service, and your app just checks when it launches if there is a new version or not, and if there is, downloads it and updates. So it is possible to put this in place. We once at the end of the project we thought about combining Squirrel from the Electron Grunt Installer and our Electron Builder to take the most of both, but it was a bit too much work for the time left, and we didn't do it. But it's possible. If you want to see more about Electron, there is a Git repository which lists all the cool apps of Electron. It's awesome Electron, Electron, and it lists most of a great number of apps and some of private examples, which are well known. That Docker's app is under Electron, Slack's app is under Electron for the most known names. But you have lots of open projects, and it's really a powerful tool to help you touch even more users, and not specifically Linux or Mac or anything else.